Today, which para we are going to discuss from the Epi-Uni, we're talking about the Antarctic. At the height of summer in the Antarctic, tourist ships move gently around the coast. Even 30 years ago, such sights would have been unthinkable. But today, people are willing to pay large sums of money to see the last real wilderness in the world. The paragraph discusses the increasing accessibility of the Antarctic to tourists, highlighting that this was unimaginable 30 years ago. In simple terms, if I go with, the paragraph highlights how the Antarctic has become a tourist destination. It emphasizes the importance of preserving the region and compares the current state to the Arctic, which has suffered from human exploitation. Alright, let's move to the first blank. In the Arctic, fearless human exploitation has damaged the fragile ecosystem. Here we are having before this blank exploitation, which is a noun, and after we are having has damaged, which is a verb phrase. Now let's explore what are the options. We're having in the future, ever before on one side, in the past. Let's talk about all of these so we can understand which one fits best. So let's talk about in the future. This phrase indicates a time frame that hasn't yet occurred. Talking about the future. Our sentence is discussing about the past. Why? So when the exploitation has been done in the past. So this doesn't fit. For example, in the future we can use in the future we will have flying cars. Why? Something happened in the future. Then we are having even before. This phrase can imply that something has been ongoing up until now, right? Or has never happened until recently. And as we all know that this has been already happened. So it doesn't fit in this context. She had never seen such a sight ever before, right? So this is example where we can use the ever before. Now let's talk about on one side. This phrase is typically used to show a physical or metaphorical side or perspective. Like, I know I just talk about a lot of things here, but let's just understand this with an example. On one side of the river, there is a dense forest. So here, we're not talking about anything like a physical or perspective. Here we are talking about the careless human exploitation that has damaged the fragile ecosystem. Let's see the last one in the past. This phrase, when we use this in the past, refers to a time frame that has already occurred. This makes more sense for us that something has already happened. It makes perfect sense in the sentence because it directly relates to when the human exploitation happened. For example, the other situation when we use in the past. So in the past, people relied on horses. So the answer will be in the past. Let's move to that second blank. In second blank, you're having today concerned governments are trying to find thieves to develop the reach by caring for the very special natural environment. What are the options do we have here? While, whereas, even, and though. Let's break down these all conjunctions and see what each of these mean. First of all, we are having while suggests a simultaneous action or contrast, performing two tasks at the same time. I can understand in this context that government trying to find ways to develop the region. Also, at the same time, they are caring for the very special natural environment. So, for example, in another scenario, if we're gonna see how we use what, she listens to music while studying, right? So in this context, I think you guys get idea. What does while mean? I'm not putting the while strictly because we really need to dig down for other options as well to understand what the other options means. Whereas indicates a contrast or comparison between two different things. For example, he loves hiking, whereas he prefers reading. So whereas is not suitable for this scenario. Why? Because as I already explained you that government trying to find ways to develop the region, caring, like two tasks happening together. So we'll see the other one. Even. Even is used for emphasize a statement, right? Often in surprising or unexpected contexts. If I'm gonna say, they stayed calm even during the storm, right? So if we all try to see there is nothing to emphasize. Another one is though implies a contrast or exception. For example, let's understand though an example. He finished the project on time, though it was very challenging, right? So here, if I'm gonna go with while, because governments are trying to find ways to develop the region, also, or while, at the same time, they really caring for the very special natural environment. Okay, so it fits best. Now let's move to the next one. Here we are having the first option, blanks, because, whether, unless, besides. Then we're talking about the Antarctic is less accessible than the Arctic comparison. And then we're saying it is still largely undamaged by humans. So we are actually giving kind of a reason that Antarctic is less accessible than Arctic, but still, largely undamaged by humans. There is kind of our reasoning. So because used to introduce a reason or explanation. For example, she was late because she missed the bus. Whether, which situation we use whether, for what purpose we use whether. Whether used to introduce alternatives or possibilities. Here we're not talking about anything like alternatives or possibilities. For example, in which scenario we use whether. I don't know whether to stay or go. Now, the next one, if I'm gonna go with unless, right? Unless used to introduce a condition that must be met for something to happen. For example, if I'm gonna go with you won't succeed unless you work hard. Then the last one is besides. Besides, we usually use to add extra information or to make an additional point. In this sentence, we are not actually giving any extra or additional point. For example, besides, it's too late to change the plans now. Right? This is the example for when we use besides. Let's see where we use besides in the example. Besides, it's too late to change the plans now. We are talking about, we're giving the reasoning with then. Even though this happens, even though it's a less successful than this, but it's still largely undamaged by humans. So it's kind of on the reason. I'm gonna go with because. Let's move to the next one. All the holes in the ozone layer above the Antarctic have watch. So what are the options here? Yet discovered, ever discovered, already being discovered, and already being discovered. Now because we need to understand these options grammatically, but we can see which one fits best. Let's talk about yet discovered. Yet discovered means something has not been discovered up to the current point in time, often used with not. For example, if I'm gonna say, the cure for the disease has not yet been discovered, right? Something is not discovered up until now. So it doesn't fit. If we're gonna go to the next one, because in this sentence, you can understand that all the holes in the ozone layer above the Antarctic have dash. Sentence is talking about holes that have been found, right? So we need to see the suitable word. We don't have the ever discovered option in this drop-down menu, which means something has been discovered at any time up to now, often used for emphasize, right? So if we wanted to emphasize to something that has been discovered, so we use ever discovered. For example, if I'm going to go and say, this is the best book I have ever discovered. Here we're talking about has already been found. This option doesn't suit here. Let's talk about the next one, which we are having already been discovered. Already being discovered, something has been. Already being discovered means something has been discovered prior to the current point in time, like from today. It has already been. If you're gonna go and see all the holes in the ozone layer above the Antarctic have already been discovered. This is the right option we were actually looking for. Because if I want to go to see already been discovering is not grammatically correct. Why? Because after being, verb always go with the third form. So here we are using ing, which is grammatically wrong. Okay, let's move to the next one. Many people believe that one way to preserve the area is to make the whole region into a word park. Okay, so in this, many people believe that one way to preserve the area is to make the whole region into a word park. Right, so the more people can come and visit the place. On the other side, with every form of exploitation internationally, right, we actually wanted to stop the exploitation, right? So what word really maps with the stop word? We do have expanded, spanned, damned, and transformed. Let's talk about each of these options. Then we decide. But expanded mean that they use up resources or energy. Let's understand with the example. She expended a lot of effort on the project. So she put all of the energy in the project. It's not suitable here because it doesn't relate to the controlling exploitation, right? Let's see span. Span mean to extend across or cover a range or duration. So, for example, the great span, the river, right? It's not related to control, so it doesn't match here. Then we go with the band, which actually makes sense for me because it's officially prohibited doing something. Ban mean to officially prohibit something. For example, we can use the use of plastic bags has been banned in many countries. Banned is related to the controlling something. We can say the banned suits it. Let's see the transformed. What does this transform? Transformed actually means to change completely in form or appearance. The old factory was transformed into a museum. But here we're not transforming anything. So the right answer will be that. This is the time to say bye-bye.